So where we're at now, we said 10.5% is where we're at. You can see, obviously, from sort of 2014, it's always been under the radar, closer to 2%, and then obviously it's jacked straight up to 10.5% as to where we are now. Very, very quickly indeed, which is why we're all feeling it in the cost of goods, why we're seeing strikes, etc. 2023, also 2022, cost of living crisis. I like to label things. I love this. We have to have a label for every reason why it's failing. High oil prices, we know they've now come down, but I see those going back up again for numerous reasons. Strikes, we had a lot of train strikes, obviously today, funny enough. We had the teachers go on strike on Wednesday, so kids are at home. More and more people on there. Tax cuts, but in the wrong places, so the NHS aren't getting the money they need in that form of tax revenue, etc. Slowing economy. I think now the term is shallow and long, which sounds really rude, sounds like a description of an adult movie, but that's what they're now saying a recession's going to be in the UK. They believe it to be shallow and long rather than deep and short. So I'll let you make up what you want to make up of that, but that's what they're saying. Now, I don't necessarily believe it.
You're all giggling. This is my life. This is 24/7 what I'm dealing with.
I didn't say anything, it was just your mind's working over. But the key thing is that's mainly down to what's happened with COVID. When you lock down the world for 2 years, supply chains are going to be all over the place. And if you tried to order anything from China recently, you know how long things like that are taking. Anyone here been stuck on a flight or been stuck in like Lanzarote and they've cancelled the plane? How long does it take to get a new plane to you if you're on some remote island? I've had it once. I got stuck in the Maldives for like a day whilst I had to get a new plane from Dubai and this, that and the other. It takes a while just to get like a plane moving, let alone big container ships and containers that are all misplaced around the world. So supply chain issues will continue. Obviously we've got Brexit. Who remembers Brexit, that magical word that we all spoke about and now we don't even talk about? That's still going. We've got very, very low unemployment, which is also a problem in essence because wages are now being higher, and anyone that employs anyone in this room know now people are asking for more money, but they don't seem to want to work any more efficiently or any more harder, in my opinion. So I'm like, why would I pay you more money? So they go on strike. And then finally, we've got the war in Ukraine, which, yeah, very sensitive subject. It's bad, obviously, because it's a war, but that's been going on for 10 years. It will continue to go on for quite a while yet, I believe, as well. So that's what we're seeing. So why is it like this stay high? Obviously, the pattern tells me it's going to stay high. It takes a while for it to come back down because inflation is like a runaway train. And if you're ever interested in this, look at Zimbabwe and the Wymean dollar and the Dutch bulb crisis. Those sorts of things you may have heard of. Once it goes, it goes. It's like a rocket, and you can't control it. It really is. A bit like Lucy on a night out with white wine. But we've got low unemployment, very, very low, 3.7%, the lowest since 1991. Some of you may have heard this. It scares me to death, but the term quiet quitting. There's lots of people in their early 20s who are just like, I'm going into work, I'm working in wherever, Homebase or Tesco or whatever, and they're just doing the barest minimum amount of job they can, because basically life has been sucked out of them because they've got no hope of owning a house in the UK because there's such a big deposit, let alone now paying the rates on there and the mortgages and the cost of borrowing going up, let alone then the energy costs to run the bloody house and all this kind of stuff, let alone the food costs and everything. So they're kind of looking at it going, why do I need to work, why am I going to give extra? Why am I going to go that extra mile, add value and kind of make something of myself? This is what they're doing. They're coming into work and quietly quitting. They're just doing enough. So at some point, they can just kind of go, yep, somebody else will take care of me, the government or whoever. Such a sad state of affairs, but hey. Lack of cheap energy. We all know what's happened with Ukraine and Russia and gas and everything, but just to give you an idea, Russia supplies 42% of the gas, mainly to Germany and those sort of Eastern Bloc. They're now firing up coal stations and stuff to try and replicate that, but if we have a cold winter, it's going to be a real problem for it. We're not out the winter yet. If that happens, it's going to go even higher. Oil prices are very low at the moment, but it's going to kick in at some point. And just to give you an example there, the sort of stuff I analyse, it costs now 21% higher cost base for Mercedes in Stuttgart to make a Mercedes vehicle. So their cost base has gone up 20% because of the energy and the amount of energy it takes to build cars. At some point, that's going to be passed on to us, the consumers, so it's going to have a real problem. And that leads into lack of cheap goods. Obviously, China being locked down for so long, that stuck all that supply chain up. They started to reopen, but goods are coming out incredibly slow out of China, and their economy is massively down as well. So why should we care? Like, genuinely, who cares? Like, do you really care about all that stuff? I do, because I find it really interesting, but you're looking at me going, you sad sod. Like, why do you spend your days looking at this stuff? But I enjoy it. But effectively, your key here is you should all care, if you're not already, because if inflation is at 10%, and again, we're taking that money out, we're sticking it under our bed, it's losing, let's keep it simple, 10% a year.